the rules, my life destroyed. Life destroyed. Until I woke awake, scream my mind, I shout, the ground shakes. How much can I take? My mind will break. Will it break? Can I take? Can I be your superhero? Superhero. Can I be your superhero? Superhero. 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 I wanna taste the pain. I think I'm seeing all red. 2 bullets in the gun, 1 shot to the head. I need a blank space. 'Cause everything is a threat, but I never back down. Man, I'd rather be dead. I'm making love to fame. And she look better in bed. And I'ma rock this life till I take my last breath. I wanna make a change. I got 1 life left, so I'm gonna go down swinging. Don't you forget. Everything is so boring. Can't get up in the morning. I'm so sick of the mundane and routine. I'm gonna break without warning. I wanna taste the pain. I think I'm seeing all red. 2 bullets in the gun, 1 shot to the head. I need a blank space. 'Cause everything is a threat, but I never back down. Man, I'd rather be dead. I'm making love to fame. And she look better in bed. And I'ma rock this life till I take my last breath. I wanna make a change. I got 1 life left, so I'm gonna go down swinging. Don't you forget. I've gotta find a new purpose, something actually worth it. I wanna look in the mirror and like what I see. I'm sick of feeling so worthless. You wanna sink or swim? I'm gonna go down swinging. Look deep within. I get lost in the feeling. I just need a win. I'm going off. I know it's time to make a change, and I can take the pain. You wanna sink or swim? I'm gonna go down swinging. Look deep within. I get lost in the feeling. I just need a win. I'm gonna find my meaning. I can make a change. I wanna play the game. You wanna sink or swim? I'm gonna go down swinging. Look deep within.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Beyond BMR. Of course, I am your host, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Joining me in Studio B, all the way from Missouri, from the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast, of course, it's Krista. If you yet to subscribe to the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast, please do. Find them on YouTube. Subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube, Texas Front Porch on YouTube, as well as the Paranormal Portal and Paranormal Roundtable, both found on YouTube. Yes, the Paranormal Portal is with Brent Thomas, good friend of mine, who we're doing collaboration later in the month, so I threw out a shout for him. And, of course, Josh Turner from PRT. We've got a great show. Again, if this is your first time here, please subscribe, do all that. Turn on the like bell or the alert bell, like, share, and subscribe. You know how it rolls with us. If you like what we have to offer tonight, the super chat's open. You also can become a BMR pirate tonight. Joined about 120 of you that are members. Join today. And of course, please subscribe. You can find us. We're all podcasts are found, including Spreaker. We've been on Spreaker now for about 3 months. So please, if you're listening in your car and you want to find a cool podcast, you can find myself, Krista and Brandy, Tex, and a whole host of other ones on that platform. So thank you so much for that. We have a great show in store for you tonight. And before I get on with it, of course, you have to remember, Mondays is Texas Front Porch, 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock on his channel, Texas Front Porch. Tuesday nights, Beyond BMR at 9 o'clock with myself and Krista. Thursdays is, of course, Brunch with Bigfoot Mr. Rob at 1 o'clock. The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast on Thursdays at 9 o'clock in the East. Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World, 11 o'clock. Thursdays, that's in the East. Fridays, back with the Blondes and the Booze. They come on at 8 o'clock in the East. Check them out. Saturday nights is the Late Show, or it's called Late Night with myself and Krista, Brandy, and Monica. We do that every Saturday night at midnight, 11 Central. Texas Front Porch, Infamous Minds at 7, and Truth or Tinfoil, they come on at 6 o'clock in the East. And I've got to tell you guys, I got to bring this up. I'm not going to be doing this too much longer. This book has been out for almost a year. Can you believe it? My book's almost been out for a year. And yeah, book 2 is coming out in about 3 weeks. So Bigfoot Mystery Rob presents True Cryptid Encounters. Book 1 found on Amazon. Book 2, same title, but it's called Book 2. Will be hitting bookshelves in August. So check it on out. If you've already bought the book, thank you in advance. And thank you in advance, I should say, for leave a review, because that does help. It helps promote book sales. So thanks to everybody for all that. And I got to just get the book off of here right quickly, because we have a great show. We got Andy DeCodes. We've got a friend of mine from the UK with his lovely partner out there. He's got a lot of partners. Nicole's joining us along with Andy, and they are, yes, live from the UK. They've been doing some investigations. We're going to talk all about it here in just a few minutes. So before I get the show started, I, of course, got to bring up my lovely co-host, Krista, making sure she's ready. Hey. And there she is. Hello, Krista.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I've been looking forward to doing this show with Andy. Andy's got a YouTube channel, ALIEN8UK. Everyone can find that on YouTube. In fact, in the show description, his links are there. The descriptions on his team is there. Their profiles, so you can check all that out. Looking forward to this. Yeah. I had a great day today. It was hot. It was 87 here in Michigan. And Krista, I'm sure Missouri weather was probably pretty close.
Actually, no. We had flooding all day, so I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to get home. Like places where it doesn't normally flood, it flooded. We've had that much rain today. Seriously,
no kidding.
Yeah, awful here.
That's pretty awful. Where I live in an area where when it rains a lot, I get flooding. It literally goes up and down my street. It goes for about 3 or 4 blocks. We have not gotten that yet this summer, despite having a fair amount of rain. So I'm thankful for that, because flooding around here is terrible. It's almost like you need a canoe to get out and go anywhere.
I'll tell you what, it flooded so bad. You remember when I picked you up from the airport, that major highway we were on?
Yes.
That was Highway 70. It flooded today. Wow. It doesn't flood. That highway doesn't flood.
Well, that was one hell of a downpour, or a flooding or whatever, moisture.
Yeah, it was the last flood, and now it's open. But yeah, I've seen pictures. It was crazy. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Again, the super chats are open, and you too. We have 5 new BMR pirates. Thanks so much to Gary Spike Sr. I appreciate all Gary does, and I appreciate all of you for coming on in tonight.
Yeah, Gary's the best.
So, in light of what's been going on, Chris, I don't like starting shows with this, but it's positive. I've got a couple stupid comments. I'll leave it at that. This person's name is Teresa. I'm going to leave it at that, because I'm not like that.
Right.
says some things about how I don't promote PRT, and they promote me all the time, which they do, and I always promote them. As it turns out, Krista,
Mhm. We
some
both
troll, just some troll.
Mhm.
Does not even some subscribers. So look, I put that to bed early, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Of course, we're all subscribers and supporters of Josh over there. And
Mhm.
that's all I'm going to say because things happen in life, right? And he's
Right.
going through some crazy times. And thank you to Ginger Paranormal.
Yes, thank you.
5 more pirates to start the show. I'm going to leave it at that. I just had to say that to that person because they really got under my skin. And you know me, I'm pretty laid back and easygoing. When people make unsubstantiated claims against me, I got to respond.
Well, and it's the same thing, we all do promote each other. We all do.
Yeah, we do.
No.
And do we do it every show? No, we don't. I'm in the show right now, and I probably forgot 3 other things I wanted to say. But with that being said,
Right.
we move on, and yes, it's not a big deal.
Yep.
And so yeah, again, I support all the people that follow and watch us and that support us. So thank you for all that, and thank you for everybody for coming on in. And of course, I always have to mention now the people that view this, watch it on replay. And right now, I'm looking at the numbers. We've got 48 in chat, and there's already 299 watching live. So for all you other people that don't participate in chat, you're as valued as the people that come in the chat room because this is what makes us grow by having everybody come on in on a Tuesday night and taking time out of your busy schedule.
Right. Yep.
And taking time out of a busy schedule is Andy and Nicole because they're out doing some research. They're in the UK running around. So enough of all that. I'm going to bring up Andy and Nicole to get this party started.
Hello.
Hi, Andy.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Just one thing, can I say that
You can.
Nicole's in New York. There's only me in the UK.
Okay, well, I did not know.
No, sorry. I should have explained earlier. I do apologize.
No apology necessary.
My mistake.
Last time I talked to you to book this was a month ago, and you said you guys be doing this, that, and the other. And so, yeah, it's fine. Nicole's, well, speaking of the lovely Nicole, I'm going to bring her up right now.
Real quick. Thank you, Tennessee Ridge Runner.
Thank you so much for that. That's awesome, Mr. Ridge Runner. Hello. Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
How are you? Thanks for joining us this evening.
Mhm.
So you're in New York. You're in New York. You're in New York, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Can't you tell she doesn't have the accent that he does?
No. Well, I will say this. I'm a subscriber to Andy DeCodes.
I am too. I'm subscribed.
Yeah, you're ALIEN8UK. ALIEN8UK. And I watch it when I can, or I do watch the replay, and I've seen it call on several times, and your other team, and you guys do a fantastic job. And I was really excited to both of you for coming on because you guys talk about a lot of everything that this channel talks about, and as well as the Blondes and the Boos and the rest of us. So before I get started, I'll go with Andy first, and then Nicole. Andy.
Yes.
How did you get involved in this crazy field?
Lockdown, basically. So it was 2020, October 31st. Couldn't go out with the kids trick-or-treating. And I was sat on the sofa watching TV. And I thought, you know what? I need to do something. I've had so many encounters from being 4 years old. So I created a website, created the YouTube channel, did a Facebook page, Facebook group, Instagram, TikTok, all the platforms. But I had no idea what I was doing. I just thought, I'll get him there ready. And then I was watching you. So I was watching yourself, Josh, Paul Sinclair, a few others. I listened to the Belief Hole podcast. There's a few different ones that I listen to and a few that I watch. And it's like, how do you start doing something like that? So my next thing was, I'm just going to go out, do investigations, do it live, no editing. If I get something, I get something. If not, I don't. But it'll also prove that you don't always get something when you go out on an investigation, because the majority of the time you don't get anything. You might get a little thing, but you can't pinpoint it to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like started off as some weird hobby 4 years ago. And now it's taken over my life, basically. I'm going out to different locations around the UK. I'm actually in the middle of a paranormal road trip now. That's why I'm in the car and it's pitch black. I'm an hour away from where I live. I've done about just short of 500 miles since 8:30 Monday morning. It's now 2:30 Wednesday morning.
Wow.
Wow.
I've got another 4 podcasts to do today, like UK time. So one's with Nicole and the other guy, Daryl. One's me on my own with the update of the road trip. Then there's one with me and Tommy where it's called We Won't Talk About Ghosts, which is kind of paranormal, non-paranormal. And then I'm doing a podcast for Noseworthy in Canada. And then after, I was supposed to be going to a place in Nottingham in the UK tomorrow, but because I've got all that going on, I'm then doing that on Thursday instead. And then early next week, I'm going over to Cannock Chase.
Awesome.
And breathe.
Well, you can breathe. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a chance to breathe because we're going to get into some of the things you have going on.
Yeah.
Hi, Harley. How you doing? So, Nicole, I'll give you the easy question. How'd you get involved with all this?
So I've been doing paranormal things for literally as long as I can remember. Since I was a kid, I was reading books and going on investigations and public ghost hunts, things like that. About 3 years ago, I joined up with Full Moon Paranormal, my team that I work with in the Hudson Valley, New York. We do public events. We raise money for historic locations in our area. We do private cases. And that actually led me to Andy, because Andy had, we connected through a mutual friend and he had me on as a guest. And then it was a little while after that that he posted he was looking for a co-host.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how that all got started. I responded and...
Well, I will say this. You're a great co-host, one of his other couple co-hosts. And I got to ask you, I hope where you're sitting right now is not your basement.
Yeah, coming to you from location.
Yeah. That kind of looks creepy.
I do spend a lot of time in places that look like that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Krista can attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
She spends a lot of time in creepy places as well.
I do.
Creepier the better.
Yep.
So again, for everybody listening, your channel, I've got it here in the links and all your guys' other information. So I want everybody to go ahead and check out Andy's channel. So let's get on with it, Andy. Why don't we go? Start with you first, man. Walk me back a little bit. I know as a youngster you came across some paranormal things that really got your head spinning. And if you want to kind of walk us through a little bit of growing up in this field. Can you hear me?
Me?
Yeah, Andy.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to Nicole. Sorry.
No, well, I'm gonna go with Nicole. I went
right.
from Nicole back to Andy. It's okay. You're tired.
Oh,
It's late over there.
It's late over there.
It's like 2 a.m.
Yeah. Right.
First paranormal experience got you saying, "Damn,
So
I gotta do this."
I was about 4 years old, and I lived in a 2-bedroom house. The main rooms were at the back of the house. The stairs and the bathroom and toilet and all that were at the front of the house. The back of the house was overlooked. It's just fields and wasteland and an old sewerage works. And there's a bit where you could just walk about. There's a path that went over what was once a rail line that then was knocked down, and you could just, then there's a golf course beyond that with a lake and so on and so on. So it was like nothing really for like a couple of miles. I was laying in bed one day. What my mum used to do, I was known as a human hot water bottle. So my mum would put me in bed to warm the bed up, and then when she come to bed, she'd take me out, put me in my own room, and then she'd get in bed, it'd be nice and warm because of me. So that is a true story, by the way. So I remember I was laying in bed, and where the bed was on the wall, the window facing out to these fields was that on the opposite wall. And I just lay there and I was looking at the wall. And you know when you play a vinyl record and it's going around and the light bounces off it and then bounces up on the wall, you get like a little light silhouette thing just going round and round, just repeating the same pattern. There's one of those on the wall. I'd say it's about 3-4 inches tall, but there's no artificial light coming in from the back, even with where the street lights were. And there was a couple of houses behind where we were, because of the angle of the house and the window, there was no way that you could see, there's no way that the light could bounce into it unless it was reflected to get to it.
Right.
And I was just watching this light being type thing, and then I drifted off, and there was pretty much, that was it. That was the first thing when I was 4 years old. And then I actually went back to the same place yesterday to take some photos of the area where I had my first UFO encounter. So I actually reenacted of me pretending to be sat on a bike looking up in the air. But
Awesome.
all this is going to come out in the documentary that I'm making from this road trip. So I was out, it was a Saturday afternoon, it had been raining, playing out on my bike. I'm about 8 years old. None of my friends were coming out, they weren't allowed out because it was still raining. So don't know why I was allowed out, but this particular day I was. And there's only lived in a little cul-de-sac, there's only like 10 houses. So it's not even 50 meters long. It's literally like less than 10 seconds to walk from the house to the edge of the street. So I'd come out, turn left, well, I rode out, turn left, riding through puddles and that. And I was on the corner of the next street on the left-hand side. And for some reason, I just stopped on my bike, looked straight up, and there's a metal disc directly above my head. We reckon it's about 120 to 150 feet. And I'm just sat on my bike, just looking straight up at it. There's nobody else about. I don't remember seeing anyone, don't recall any cars, but this is like about 1981.
Wow.
So I was born in 73, yeah, so it'd be 81. So like I said, I was 8. And I could have been there for 10 minutes. I could have been there for 3 hours. I've no idea. But I had a person that we know do a remote view and look back at it, Jessica, and she confirmed that I give her the location of where this was. She doesn't know any of this story, by the way, and she came back that I've got missing time from around this period, which would make sense for everything else that's happened throughout my life. And that was just. But then after I put my head down because I was getting cramp in my neck, looked back up, it had gone. I just carried on playing out on my bike like it was normal.
Wow.
Just like it was normal. Very interesting. Hold that thought, Andy, because of course I have to, with two of you on here, I got to equalize everything, you know. So, Nicole, what's your first experience you had before you got involved with this, so you can recall?
I have had experiences literally as long as I can remember. My grandmother's house growing up was very haunted. There was a man named Charlie, a spirit, who apparently choked on a chicken bone. That's how he died. And he was just always around. You could hear him coughing, and you could things would move and you could see shadows. So it was just all very normal to me. One thing that happened when I was very young is apparently I channeled my great-grandmother.
Wow.
No memory of this. I'm sitting there brushing my grandmother's hair, and then I start talking about how I used to do it when she was younger and all this other stuff. And of course, I don't remember it, but from what I'm told, I was channeling my great-grandmother.
Wow.
Wow.
And you didn't even know anything about your grandmother, or?
No, my great-grandmother passed long before I was born.
Wow.
So what type of messages were you getting, or if any?
I don't think it was anything like that deep or serious. It was just like, I remember doing this when you were young or a little girl.
So can I ask you, are you an investigator yourself, Nicole? Do you go out and looking actively? So, and you're in New York?
I'm in New York. Yep.
So what are some of the, well, what's one of the crazier places you've gone into and did an actual investigation with?
Oh, we've gone to a lot of crazy places. Last weekend, I was at the Shanley Hotel, which is one of the most haunted hotels in the United States. It's in Napanoch, New York. We get a lot of activity there. We had a nun doll, haunted nun doll, that really wanted to communicate. She was lighting up cat balls and saying things through the devices.
Wow.
And I say she, but it's actually a male spirit attached to this nun doll.
How often do you get to go there?
It's like a half an hour from me, so I've actually been there
Quite a bit then.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Very cool. If you're in New York, have you been up to, I don't know, I know it's up that way, but like the Conjuring House and all of that? Have you been to those
I
types
have not been to the Conjuring House. I know a lot of people who have varied experiences. Some people say, it's active. Some people say they didn't really get anything from the house at all.
Gotcha.
So wait a minute, the Conjuring House we've all seen on TV that takes place in New York?
No,
That's
it's
Rhode Island.
I think it's Rhode Island. I think so.
We're on the same page here when I talk about the Conjuring, the trilogy that was out. Okay.
What about Hinsdale? Have you been there?
I have been to Hinsdale.
What do you think of that place?
That is an experience. The woods it's like something else being out in those woods at night.
Wow.
But we were very respectful when we went. We weren't looking to interact with anything negative.
Right.
We actually got a message from the spirits of the Hinsdale house. They want more pizza and less darkness.
There you go.
And they like the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
One of the caretakers sings them Backstreet Boys or plays Backstreet Boys.
Daniel is awesome. He's a good guy.
So these spirits like pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into this because Saturday late night, I broke it down. A certain friend of mine and all of ours, I won't mention any names, Monica Rollins, detests pizza. She has a disdain for pizza, which we broke down last Saturday at midnight. I'll just leave it at that, Monica, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Which was a fun show. So, hey, Andy, so you're out in the UK right now, riding around, and you're doing some investigations or doing whatever it is, putting things together for your channel. So let's fast forward a little bit to current present day, and I'll reflect back to you, Nicole, of course. So, what have you come up with, man? Have you come across anything weird out there? And now, everybody, he's in the UK. He's live from the UK, and he's sitting in his vehicle right now. Let's let you all know.
Yeah. So I'm parked up in a closed service station just off the bypass. I'm at least an hour away from where I live. I've just driven 2 hours to get here. So where I've just been tonight was over at Bempton with Paul Sinclair from Truth Proof. So I've met up with Paul, a couple of others. There was Simon Riley, who watches the show. There's another guy who, one of the viewers in the chat that came with us, a guy called Wayne. So I got there around about 12 midday today. And we've been at Bempton, we've been on the cliffs. We went down to a place called Danes Dyke. which is a big like forest wooded area with like a ravine. You come out the other end and you're on the beach. It's the most weird place I've ever been to. It's just you're walking through a forest and then you're on a beach with cliffs all around you.
Wow.
But we ended up going back to Bempton, did some filming, a couple of interviews while I was there. Me and Paul were like talking to each other and filming each other at the same time. So we're both going to be using it for shorts on both channels. So we've done that. But going back to last night, we was in Manchester, which is my hometown. Met with a lad called Ash Ellis, who does I think identified UFO. I can never remember the name of his channel. You won't mind me getting it wrong, but they've got a UFO database in the UK. So he does that. Anyway, he lives in what was a big Georgian house that was then divided into 2 houses that is now divided into 12 apartments. So from that, we went into the basement. This is the most weird basement I've ever been in. So you go in and there's just these rooms and rooms underneath, but each one, it's like 3 to 4 layers of brick knocked through so you can get into each individual room. Wow. So I'm using my night vision goggles to interview him. There's one light on at the back that was like leading to where the stairs are, so we knew our way back out. But there was a sheet that pulls down like a big tarpaulin.
Thank you, Josh. I'm sorry I didn't mean that.
Sorry. So that drops down and cuts all the light out. Unless you move it, you can't see. So we're in this room, and I've got my goggles filming. I've got it on green. It's just it's a better image when you use green rather than black and white. And even though the goggles, you don't have to hold them up to your face. So I'm holding them about a foot, 18 inches away from my face, pointing them into this room near where they've had stuff go on before. So as I'm holding them there, I felt a breath between the goggles and my chest, and didn't feel it. It wasn't like someone blowing on me or anything like that. It was all like,
wow.
And it was that, I'm like, what? Yeah, you can imagine what I said.
No, I can only imagine.
Yeah. So then from that, Ash started saying about this has happened before with other people hearing this breath and that. Then a few minutes later, it's like someone was stood. You know when you can feel someone stood right next to you? They're not quite touching you, but you know there's somebody there. So I kind of spun on my heel a bit to have a look. And as soon as I turned, the feeling went. And obviously there was no one there. There's me, Ash, one of my cousins who's also called Andy. There's only us 3 in the basement. There are people living upstairs. And you can hear when they go to the bathroom, you can hear the TV, you can hear them walking about. So all that was cut straight away from anything being paranormal. So I'm filming, and I'll give you a teaser as to what happened, because I want to use this for the documentary. So as we're talking, I'm interviewing Ash, but I'm doing it all under night vision. So there's no normal full colour video or photographs or anything like that until this moment. So we're chatting away, and Ash went, "Oh my God," explained what had gone on. So my cousin got his phone out and took a photo of this thing that had happened. And this is where it gets really weird. So we carry on the interview, we go into each room, checking it out, going right up to the walls, like little alcoves that have been cut out. And it's kind of like the way it's built in the basement, like this used to be ground level. So it's a bit like the mud flats, but not as big. Do you get what I mean? It's like just this one building.
Yeah, no, I have an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Continue.
Yeah, so there's like 3 or 4 rooms like that, and then there's a couple where he's got wooden stairs going up to nothing, and it's not like there was even a door there before. You can see it's the original brickwork. So I'm filming round, going round, pitch black, can't see anything without the night vision. So anyway, this thing happened. My cousin got his phone out. He took a photo of it. You could kind of see what it was that was on the photo. So we finished what we was doing. We was down there about an hour. We went back up, took the SD card out the night vision goggles and plugged them into his PC. So he said, "Oh, we'll have a look now to see if we've picked anything up." So he got the videos. I said, "Look, download them onto your computer. That way you've got a copy of them. So if you want to look through them, you can do, or you can use it because we was both there doing it. Or if anything happens to my SD card, we've still got a hard copy. So it's like double whammy sort of thing." Anyway, so we're looking through them. Meantime, my cousin's outside having a cig. He comes back in. He goes, "Oh, I'll send you that picture that I took." So he sends it to me, and then I WhatsApp it to Ash. As I send it to Ash, that this is where it gets really freakily weird. He's got it on his phone, I've got it on my phone. You know, on the old Polaroid camera, where the picture comes out and you're waiting for it to develop, and gradually you can see the colours coming through, and eventually you see what it is. Takes about a minute and a half. This is what happened with the digital photo from his phone. We're looking at the picture, you couldn't really see anything, and then as we're looking at it, it kind of like develops in front of our eyes. We both look at each other, we say the exact same thing, look back at each other and start laughing because of how weird and the synchronicity of it all. But last night, there was yesterday, we met up about 5 o'clock, and the 3 of us were together till around just after midnight or thereabouts. And so much different types of synchronicity throughout the afternoon and the evening. It was just, mind-blowing. But I don't want to give away what happened and what this picture was of until I've got it all edited and ready to put out.
I think this is a smart move. You should never, when you come up across evidence or whatever you perceive it to be, whether it be audio or video, you got to really put your thumb to the nail, right? And you really got to kind of work through it and make sure that, because I'm sure you're going to post this or talk about this on your show upcoming down the road. So it's something you have to take your time with, and don't rush to paste just to show something, because that's where, it gets, it's a slippery slope, right? Yeah. So I appreciate the fact that you're taking your time out to kind of go through this and figure out what it is that you encountered. Yeah. So with that, Andy, go ahead, Andy.
Sorry, I was just going to say, because of what happened and the photo, straight away, if I was to tell you what happened, then showing you the photo, you'd be like, "Oh my God." It is one of those moments.
It's one of those moments, the oh my God moment.
And we didn't expect any of that. And with what's in the image, we tried to recreate it. Both of us, different ways, different styles, different techniques of doing it. Neither of us could do it. All I will say is I believe there's some sort of residue that was left as to what happened. And neither of us have got that to recreate the moment, shall we say.
Wow.
What a teaser for that episode, Andy.
I'm sorry.
That's quite the teaser. That's quite the thanks. Really quickly, thanks to Josh for your donations. And I think people now that were being naysayers, how Rob don't promote Josh, I think you can see that mine and Josh's friendship is fine. So for all you people out there, why don't you watch a show or two? So thanks, Josh.
We all do promote each other, all of us.
Yeah. So thanks for that. I mentioned that earlier, and again, thanks, Josh. And in fact, since I'm thanking people, I can't let everyone else. Gary Spike Sr., Ginger Paranormal, Truth Ridge Runner, Josh, Paranormal Roundtable again for all the memberships, becoming BMR Pirates, and of course for the awesome donations. Donations are always appreciated and never, of course, expected. So thank you. So Nicole, What's your oh my God moments? I know you've been doing this for a little while. There's got to be something. Everybody likes a good story, and I always say story. Rob, they're not stories; they're encounters. What are you doing? Well, an encounter is story, an experience, a witness, whatever. I roll with the word story. So, Nicole, what's one of the things that when you came across in whatever, it could be anything from the paranormal, alien, cryptid, whatever it is that you're into. What made you think, wow, what am I even doing this for?
So I am more on the skeptical side when I'm investigating. I like to try to debunk things. I like to try to find rational explanations before just assuming something's paranormal. We had one thing that, try as hard as I cannot explain. We were at this woman's office in it was in Pennsylvania, and it used to be an old school building. It's now converted into offices. She had a studio there, and she was there one evening, and the door to her office starts rattling. The shades are shaking. So she calls us in to do an investigation. And we go there, and we're getting a little bit of stuff, nothing crazy. But we have a REM pod attached to the door with a clip. So it'll go off if something, tries to open the door or anything like that. So that's going off like crazy. And I'm recording on my phone the door just because the REM pod keeps going off. And then you see in the video, the shadow come block out the window. And it is so solid that I think it's a person, and I stop recording.
You stopped?
I stopped because I'm like, oh, that's what's setting it off. There's a person, a living person at this door. So we go over. There's no one there. There's no one in the building.
Wow.
I had to go outside the door because I'm always the ghost bait and walk back and forth a million times, try to see if I can recreate this. There was no way. There was nothing that I did that was a black mass that just went in front of this window.
Wow. And you stopped the recording. I bet you could have kicked yourself in the rear.
You hear me at the end of the recording say oh, there's a person there. It was so solid. Never experienced something so human-like.
Wow.
Chris, so you can chime in anytime, which you have been. As you know me, I tend to ramble sometimes. So, Krista, but I'm gonna ask these two. I'm gonna start with Andy. Well, I'm gonna ask both of you at the same time, Andy and Nicole. Have you guys come across paranormal and cryptid encounters or experiences, or I know kind of where you both are moving forward here, but I'll ask you, regardless if you have. I happen to believe all of these things are related, and that might be an unfair question if you have not experienced what I have, which has been quite a lot. So I'd like to get your perspective on that, and I'm very intrigued with both of what you have to say, especially in the UK. And we don't hear a lot about the UK.
Right.
No offense to New York, of course, because we know that's creepy to begin with. New York is creepy regardless.
Yeah, New York is something else. All right, I'm going to start because mine is short. Okay, Andy, I know you have.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you know mine.
I know yours. So until I met Andy and started talking to guests on the channel, I didn't really have too much experience with cryptids. I stuck mostly to the ghosts and the paranormal. The only thing is I've seen a UFO out in the backyard when I was younger. Called me out, and there's this green saucer light in the sky, but no cryptids.
Wow.
Okay, do you believe that Bigfoot exists, Nicole?
I believe that enough people have had Bigfoot experiences that some type of phenomena is happening.
Hey, okay, yeah, that's a cool answer, I guess. What do you know about Montauk, New York? Now I know you know about Montauk.
Love
Montauk, yeah, all the experiments going on there. Yep.
What's your thoughts?
The Montauk Project. I think the government does a lot of things that we don't know about. and that we will never know about. And if you sit there on that website and go through all the declassified, redacted documents, it will blow your mind.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I like that answer. And Krista and Andy, you've got a nice person to work with, younger, vibrant, into these things. And that answer you just gave was spot on, Nicole. I have to agree with you 100%. And yeah, you know. So when I asked the earlier question, how is it related? I think you already gave the answer. You think everything's related, regardless of your experiences.
Yep, everything connects somehow.
Absolutely. Do you guys have either of you guys ever Andy, you ever been to the States, and Nicole, have you ever been to the UK, or do you have plans of going?
I was in the States just over 5 years ago. I was flew to JFK, New York, stayed in Connecticut for a few days. Then we drove up to Boston, Massachusetts. Then we went to Salem.
Cool.
Went round Salem Witch Trials Museum. And then we went into the main cemetery in Salem. Just drove round and filmed it, but didn't pick anything up. Then we come back through geography of America isn't that good. And I went through New Jersey, Rhode Island, a lot of it's just the East Coast, and then back to Connecticut. Then the last 2 days stayed in New York, just near Madison Square Garden.
Cool. Very cool.
But I did, whilst being driven around, especially around Connecticut, we passed. I can't remember the name of the town or the area. There's some mountains, and I'm a passenger in the car, and I'm looking up, and I'm just looking for Bigfoot. That is all I'm doing. Head out the window, looking for Bigfoot for about 45 minutes solid. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
I have not been to the UK, but I will get there sometime.
Yeah, you know, I don't.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I'm planning on coming back to the States next year.
Cool.
So I'm going to go New York, East Coast area again.
So
hopefully we get to meet up.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you, Andy, being that, we don't get a lot of people from the UK on the show. And I appreciate you taking the time out. I don't even know what the time difference is. I know you mentioned it earlier. Where I'm at, it's almost 10 o'clock in the Eastern Standard Time. You've got to tell us something that maybe us in the United States don't know about the UK when it comes to this phenomena. Anything that you can think of, it could be folklore, it could be experiences you've had with guests on your show, something that is going to want me to come to the UK. Because right now I'm not feeling that I want to go to the UK.
So with the UK,
I'm kidding, Andy. I'm sure that went over your head.
No. I am a little bit delirious through, just doing this. But I think the UK, it's more. If you go somewhere to do an investigation and you expect to get a particular genre of the paranormal, also be prepared to get one that you're not expecting. Because there's a cemetery local to me. Nicole knows where I'm going with this. And it was one of the first times when I first started the YouTube channel. We've been to 2 separate locations. The first one was the church ruins, which is segregated ground. So the church is like just walls, but they still use it for burials. It's supposed to be the most haunted area in the part of the UK that I live. But I've had a few things go on there, but nothing too drastic. There was a bit where I was doing a TikTok video and the missus was with me. It was a Saturday afternoon, and you were no more than 30 foot away from each other. We couldn't see each other, and I couldn't hear her shouting me.
Wow.
And that lasted for about 5 minutes. And there's no way you could not hear each other in that area. It'll take you 2 minutes to walk around the perimeter of this place. That's how small it is. So we've had that go on. So we was there first. That's different investigation. Then we went to this place called Kingsford Cemetery. And we was at the Commonwealth War Graves. So I'm filming, there's 2 people in the studio. And I was with a lad called Mark. Now, he had hoodie, baseball cap, dressed similar to me. And he'd gone over the other side of the cemetery. So I'm walking down, there's a guy sat on the bench. So I'm shining my torch, thinking it's Mark. Oh no, I'm blinding some complete stranger about 50 foot away from me. So I walk over, I'm so sorry, I thought you were somebody else. So I'm chatting to him. He looked 25 to 27-year-old guy, really pale complexion. Like I said, a jacket, hoodie, baseball cap, and a really strong Dutch accent, but spoke really good English.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt I had to explain to him what I was doing. I felt comfortable talking to him. So he said, "Oh, your mate, is he like wearing and got the same sort of setup as you?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, he's just gone down there." So I said, "Right, okay." So I walked back the way I came to walk round the bottom and back up to meet, because I could see where Mark's torch was. As I got away to this point, reality kind of kicked in, and I realised that who I was speaking to was a non-human.
Wow.
Don't know why. There was nothing to say it wasn't human. It was full, solid body. Like I said, I had a 2-minute conversation with this person. I walked round to where Mark was. Now, this guy had said, "Oh, yeah," he walked past me. Mark was filming on his mobile. He stopped. He took it back to the beginning. As he walks past this bench, there's no one sat on the bench. Now, this is where it gets really freaky. So I had a GoPro on a body harness, so it's like in the middle of my chest, and I'm filming onto YouTube using my mobile. Now, people in the chat that was watching, because it was going out live, some could hear the person and not see him. Some could see him and not hear him. And the others couldn't see or hear him. Even Ryan, who's like doing it from the studio, thought I was talking to myself. He couldn't see it or hear anyone. Yet I've got about 10 seconds of footage where you can clearly see somebody sat on the bench. So if you think that's weird, it gets even weirder. I'll be as quick as I can. So I've got the about 5 seconds of footage, and there's 11 frames where you can see this person sat on the bench. There's one frame where he's looks like he's wearing blue, and you can see who he is. All the others, you can see a graduation of what looks like a thin line orb. It then expands into a glowing orb in front of his face. And you can see it on camera. You can also see where the torch perimeter stops before his feet, so it's not even hitting his face. So even if it was the torch, it's not any bounce back, it's not lens flare, nothing like that. When you zoom into it, you can see that this orb is blocking his face, but there's a gap between the orb and his face. So who I was talking to, or what I thought I was talking to, wasn't what it actually was. Now, he was sat there, he had his mobile in his right hand on his lap, and he's looking to me, and I see his left-hand side of his profile. His mobile's on the right-hand side, so if his face was lit up, it'd be the side that I couldn't see. I'm talking to him, nothing's lit up. Nothing at all. It's only when you watch the playback of the video and you zoom right in, you can clearly see that this thing is masking what he really looks like. But going back to where I walked away from him and they said reality started to kick in, the first thought I got in my head was I was just talking to the devil.
That's scary.
Something about the voice too, right? People were hearing.
Sorry. So the voice. So 25 to 27-year-old Dutch lad. Yeah. He sounded that young. When you listen to the audio from the GoPro, he sounded like an 80-plus-year-old man. a really gruffled and old voice.
It's audio from the GoPro, right?
Yeah. And I've tried to recreate this event with different people, but using the exact same equipment, going back at the same time and sitting there. I've done it myself and people have filmed me, and we can't get the camera angle right. We can't get the lighting. And it's the same. It's these lights that are showing you. These, just two of them and a torch. That was it. And we cannot recreate it. We can't even get close to anything that it could be. But,
Wow.
so, where I said there was, I think it was 7 frames, just because of the ratio of the video, the last frame, you can see him, and he's wearing like, not a navy, like between not sky blue, your normal average blue colour,
Okay.
and like a sky, like your top, Rob, that
Okay.
colour blue, but a little bit darker. It's that kind of colour from head to toe. Remember me saying he was near the Commonwealth war graves?
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 solid rows of Commonwealth war graves. That night, I checked the names on these war graves, and there's loads of Eastern European names on there. Right, I've been back a lot of times since. There was at that night there was 3 rows of graves, and the majority of the, like I said, the majority of the graves were Eastern European. When you go back now, there's 2 rows and then 5 at the back, and there's only 2 European names. The rest are English, like Henry, Jones, Smith, Davis.
Right. Wow.
The names on there are completely different to what was on there at the beginning.
Wow.
And each time I go and look at something and come back, I have to dig deeper and deeper. And this was it'd be 3 years ago in April that this happened.
Well, what were your feel? I know you said that you felt like, you were talking with the devil, but I mean, like, did you just get this overwhelming feeling of being scared, or what was,
At the time, it's like talking to you guys now. It's like, Joe, when you just, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And you feel comfortable having that chat. There's no threatening. Because I was like, is he drinking? Is he smoking weed? I couldn't smell anything. There's nothing on the floor. There's no cans there. Nothing like that. So I'm looking at his phone. It was when Pokemon Go was big. So I thought, is he out catching Pokemon? Because you go to weird, wonderful places to get the more rare Pokemon, don't you? So I thought, is he doing that? And I'm trying to look at his phone without him noticing that I'm trying to do this. And I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see what was on his phone. But this was the other thing. On his phone, remember when the smartphones first come out, like the iPhone 4, it had more of a green backlight than what it is now. It had that green tinge to it, didn't it?
right?
It was like that. So this phone was at least, on average, about 9-10 years prior to what it should be. So there's certain little. So from all this, I said, none of it adds up. None of it makes any sense.
Wow.
And then, this is where it gets even creepier. There's a main entrance into the cemetery where you drive through, and there's a house there. They're the caretakers. And then there's one gate, right? Sorry. As you come in, so on the far right-hand corner is a gate that you can get one person through at a time. You can't get a vehicle through. A lot of people use it for scooters to cut through and use it as a shortcut. Now, where me and Mark was stood, we would have seen him leaving, or he would have had to pass us to get out the cemetery. Nothing. So we're kind of finishing off, and we're walking down to where the chapel is, because the chapel was on the bit of the road where you drive in. Now, we didn't drive into the cemetery because we weren't sure what the parking was or if they locked the gate. So we parked on the road directly opposite. So we're walking back there. Mark goes, "Shall you have a quick look around the chapel?" I went, "Yeah, go on then. One quick look before we go." So just starting to walk, I thought, right, I'll end the stream. So I ended it, said goodbye to everyone, blah, blah, blah. Ended it within 2 seconds of us starting to walk to go around the back of this chapel with this horrible screaming. It's like an animal. You could tell it had female vocals, but there's definitely some sort of animal. And the only thing that I can put it to is like American Werewolf in London when he's going through that change. But towards the end, where you can still hear that it's a man, but an animal at the same time. But imagine that as a female.
Mm-hmm.
Mark turned around to me and went, "Not today," and we literally ran out of there as fast as we could.
Wow.
And it was the moment that we ended the ended the stream.
Wow.
Wow.
And I keep going back and get things, but nothing like that. Not even close.
That's scary. That's really scary.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty creepy, Krista. If you want to pick his brain for just a little bit, if you like, say, I'll let the dog out right quick, and we'll be back. Because I got a question for Nicole regarding these cemeteries. I got to tell you what, Andy. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. That is.
I mean, I've got a lot of different questions for you, which I'll come back and ask. But for that, I got to let the dog out right quick. And if Krista wants to take over for a couple minutes here.
Yep, I got it. So you were talking, let's talk Bigfoot for a few minutes. Do you believe like the Bigfoot over in the UK are the same as the ones here, or do you feel like they're different? If so, how so?
I've never seen one.
Mm-hmm.
I know people that have seen something similar to it, and they refer it to more of a wild man or a woodwose,
Mm-hmm.
or is it Aikman? Like Man of the Woods sort of thing.
Right.
And one of the places it went to yesterday, we was going to go down to a golf course where a report was taken of some golfers trying out new equipment, and they seen one near the lake. It made a noise. Then they heard another one make a noise to the left. They looked, there was nothing there. When they looked back to where the first one was, it had gone. So I know they are here. As them to being the same, without seeing one,
Yeah.
I don't actually know, but I believe that they're not. I think they're more of a man type
Mm-hmm.
hairy being, as opposed to a more, I suppose, not monkey, but gorilla, chimp type, like baboon sort of thing.
Yeah. I was just curious because even here in the States, people say, the ones, that, different ones in different areas, look different or, there are ones more aggressive than the other. So I was just kind of curious what your thoughts were.
Yeah. Because like you've got like the skunk ape and that down in Florida, haven't you? And you got
and the skunk ape,
Sasquatch, Bigfoot.
Right. Is a little like the skunk ape is smaller than what, like the other ones are. So I believe that, I don't think believe's the right word. My thought is that they aren't as big or as hefty as they are in the US. Mm-hmm.
I just think they're a bit of a down a level version, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're going with that, they're a physical creature, then they could be in the same family. Like you have cats, like you have domestic cats, you have lions and tigers, and they're related, but they're very, very different.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But my belief on Bigfoot is, loads of people are going to hate me on this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I've said it before, so I don't believe they are paranormal or supernatural as such. I believe they have abilities that we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
In certain ways, they're a lot more advanced than we are. Because I know about Rob's encounter with the mind speak and telepathy and that kind of stuff. I get all that. I just think that they're using they've evolved differently than what we have. I'm not saying this is true. This is just my opinion.
Sure.
I'll contradict myself about 5 times in this sentence, but it's just how it goes. But I don't believe they're supernatural. I believe they are a living, breathing, blood, flesh being.
Gotcha.
I just think they have abilities where they can, whether just step back into the wilderness and you can't see them, whether it's the
Sure.
fur or the hair refracting light.
Mhm.
They know how to camouflage. Or it's like when you hear about them going behind a tree and then they're gone. What's not to
Right.
say they're as quick as a bear and they're running up that tree before you even know it. And
Sure.
if they can use stealth mode, you're not going to hear them or see them.
Mhm.
I'm not saying it is that,
Right.
but then it's like you've got all these UFO sightings when there's a Bigfoot sighting, or there's a lot of orb sightings. So
Mhm.
I don't know what to believe, but mine at the minute is I don't think the supernatural.
Well, here's kind of the thing behind why we do these shows, because everybody, hey, listen, I respect everybody's opinion.
Yep.
And we've talked about this ad nauseum with Bigfoot, Dogman. When you talk about the cryptids, about being either paranormal or physical flesh and blood beings. So, with that said, I think they're both. I think there's elements to both. I think Bigfoot. I think there are supernatural elements. So, Andy, what I'm going to do, and I normally don't like doing this because this is for you two to talk about your stories, but I'm going to run this story by Andy and Nicole, which I think I want your take on this, what you think, what your thought process is.
Yeah.
I'm talking to this guy. Did a video. I talked to this guy quite several times, and this was somewhere. In fact, you know what, Nicole? It might have been close by New York or New Jersey. It might have been. I think it might have been New Jersey, to be honest with you. But this man, he's with his buddy, and they were hunters. But now, with that being said, I'll preface this by saying that they knew about Bigfoot. They knew about cryptids and the paranormal. They were into it. No, they're researchers. No, but were they adept and kept abreast of what's going on? Right, and they are.
Mhm.
So these guys were out hunting. They're maybe 100 yards. They're laying on their bellies and they're looking into the tree line. And the guy has his scope up, and his one friend. And what these guys do is they make videos of their hunting. You know
Mhm.
how there's so many people that they just make hunting videos or being out in the woods, which I think are really great videos. So his friend, this guy, had his rifle lined up, and he has his friend always film what's going on to capture a hunt, or they even use it to help track their prey or their quell, if you will. So they're looking, they had the rifle down, they're looking out this meadow, and they see a bunch of deer, about 3 or 4 does that appear from the tree line. Like, okay, make sure they're the right size and everything before because they wanted to get a doe or a buck, and when I say they're hunters, they hunted for food because they ate and did the appropriate thing, not just random hunters or poachers. So, okay, this guy tells his buddy to turn on the camera, and he's gonna take the shot. So he lines up he gets this doe in sight. Then all of a sudden, from the tree line emerges this humanoid looking figure. The guy brings down his rifle, wipes his eyes, and they both look with their naked eye at the tree line, about 100 yards away, about the length of a football field. And they see and they look at each other. Is that a Bigfoot? Because it was tall, maybe 8-9 foot tall, but it was covered in hair, and they could see the outline. They could see that it was something. Couldn't see the face, but they knew it was not human. It was an animal, if you will. But they said no, it's not a bear, and they even got closer with binoculars and the scope of the rifle telescope. Oh my God, yeah, I think we got a Bigfoot in focus here. So this Bigfoot, it goes after the doe that the guy wanted to shoot. And so he's looking at this again, telling his buddy, hey, are you filming this? Yes, I am. So all of a sudden, this Bigfoot, or whatever it is, alleged Bigfoot, right? From what they're telling me, they were pretty certain it's Sasquatch, Bigfoot, what have you. And it grabs the doe around the neck, picks it up, apparently broke its neck, and disappeared with the doe back into the tree line. They're excited. Wow, we just captured a Bigfoot hunting and captured and got a doe. Oh my God, they forget what they're doing. They have no interest in hunting. They want to replay the video. They go back several frames, blah, blah, blah. Then they finally find on the video where they see the doe, the tree line. And you know what they see on the video, you guys? They see the doe being lifted off of the ground. Like I said earlier, what they saw with their naked eye, saw the Bigfoot lift it up and kill it. And so they're hoping that they got it all on film. Now they did. They got a picture, they got a capture of the deer being lifted apparently. But here's the thing that was not on the video. Here's what was not on the big Krista.
That's my front door. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm on mute now.
WD-40 takes care of most of those situations. But anyways.
That was a suspenseful moment, and then just
Yeah, it's always timing on live shows, So anyway, when they replaying the video, all excited once again, they see the deer suspended off of the ground, expecting to see this Bigfoot, Sasquatch, this humanoid, whatever you want to call it, you guys, expected to get that capture. But you know what was not in the video? All they see is the deer suspended up off the ground without a capture of the actual Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And then the deer, much like the Bigfoot, grabbed it into the tree line and disappeared. So, again, we all hear about electronics, wavelengths, these electronic forces that these entities can immerse, right?
Yeah.
So how do you explain that, I wonder?
my first thought would be frequencies.
Yeah.
Like if the Bigfoot is operating at a different frequency that the camera can't pick up.
Frequency, radio waves, yes. Frequency is a word I learned a couple of years ago, thanks to Krista. But yeah, frequency and what's the other word, Krista? Frequency and what? Vibration.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, frequency and vibration I'm finding is a big key to all of these elements, to all this paranormal. And whatever you call paranormal, I think they're all paranormal. I think everything, I think the cryptids, the paranormal, it's all linked, aliens, paranormal, really. I mean,
It is.
I think it's all linked.
Yeah.
So, and it's, and you're a believer that, you don't think Bigfoot's paranormal, which is great. I respect that. And that's cool because a lot of people don't. But how, outside of what Nicole said about frequency, what do you think that was? What do you find weird about
this?
That?
Is where it's a bit contradictory, but I'll try and explain it the best I can so it isn't. So like Nicole said, frequency and vibration. Now, if they're doing infrasound, which is also a frequency, everything is made up of energy. If they know how to manipulate frequency and sound, and they can control what frequency they vibrate at, it's like our eyesight, is it between 2 and 20 hertz or something like that? We've got like 18 hertz that we can actually see, and the rest of it we're unable to see. I don't know the exact numbers. If they know how to vibrate at a different frequency or even a different waveband altogether, like Nicole said, the camera's not picking them up. And that's why, especially with a digital camera. Now, a lot of people say if you use an old style like a 35mm camera or even a Polaroid, like I was talking about before, you pick up a lot more stuff than what you would using a digital, whether it's a DLR, DLSR, a phone, tablet, whatever. So I just think they know how to manipulate sound and or vibration.
Makes sense.
I guess that's really the question, right?
Right.
Yep.
Well, that's one of the theories on how they can like disappear. Not like going super speed up a tree. It's that they change their vibration or their frequency. Right. They're no longer visible to humans.
Cynthia says allegedly Bigfoot vibrates at a higher frequency. There you go.
Yeah. You know, what we're all involved with is it seems simple, but yet it's very complex, is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Nicole, have you ever done any investigations around cemeteries?
Oh yeah, one of our favorite places to go is a cemetery in Washingtonville that has some crazy activity. It's a pretty old cemetery. There's some newer graves there, but there's some sordid tales in that cemetery.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever spoken to the dead?
We have communicated with what we believe are spirits with our equipment. We work with mediums.
Cool.
Have you had any personal accounts?
Not speaking directly to a spirit. I'm not a medium. I don't have abilities like that. I've spoken to them through equipment, but I did have one interaction. It was actually at the Shanley. We were there with a group of people, and my teammate walks into the room. I walk into the room, and I think my other teammate, Lisa, walks into the room behind me. Standing there while we're in this room for probably a good 5-10 minutes. I can see her. You know how you see somebody out of the corner of your eye when they're standing next to you?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like very clear. It's just like the outline. You can see a blonde woman wearing black. But we turn to go leave, and there's no Lisa. There is no one there. So standing next to her for a good like 5-10 minutes was a spirit or an apparition.
Wow. Crazy.
So in the UK, you know, you guys have heard about the missing 411.
Yes.
And you guys know what that is. So
Yes.
we've heard about the ones in the States, North America, you know, throughout the world.
Yeah.
What's that like in the UK? Do you have a lot of missing people that aren't either unfounded, not reported? Now, and I know that the UK isn't as vast as, you know, North America.
Yeah.
You know.
We do get missing people. I don't know the figures. For some reason, I've got 20,000 in my head, but that might be the US. But that's a year, by the way. We do get a lot of missing people, and I know people have gone missing at places like Rendlesham, Cannock Chase, going out to places where they shouldn't be going. People have gone and just never returned. But like I said, I couldn't give you the figures because the most you hear about that are the national parks in the US.
Yes.
So, and we don't really have anything like that over it. Like I said, you've got Rendlesham, you've got Cannock Chase. There's a couple of places up in Scotland, Wales, but then obviously size comparison, they're not even close to the ones that you've got over there.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to ask you too, you know, here about the United States, the Pacific Northwest, you know, that's like, you know, Bigfoot all over the place and whatnot. So we're in the UK, and this could be any paranormal, it doesn't matter really. Where in the UK is like the hot spot where people that are researchers or investigators, where everybody just flocks to. There's got to be some place there which is like spooky as all get out, where everybody just needs to go if they're into this subject.
Definitely Cannock Chase.
Cannock Chase.
Yeah, because you've heard of Rendlesham Forest. the
I have.
UFO landing in 1980.
I
next
did.
to,
I heard. Yes, it's pretty
Yeah.
popular.
like
Mhm.
Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then Boxing Day. But before that, there's a UFO that was spotted. I think it was 2 weeks prior to that. In total, there was 3. So that you've got that, which is between 2 air bases. I think it's Drywater. I can't remember the name of it. Bentwaters and Woodbridge. So they're the main 2 air bases. So where the supposed UFO, where it landed, is not too far from the end of the runway from Woodbridge, which I've been to a few times. And the first time I went, I met up with a guy called Alex Lovelock, who knows he lives in that area, he knows it. We stood at a tree talking about it, and twice we seen 2 orange orbs. There's 2-dimensional on the floor. They weren't really orbs because it was like hexagonal, and it was like doing that across the floor. And then a few minutes later, they did it again. And Alex went to me, "Did you see that?" I went, "Yeah, I thought it was your watch." Then I realised we're leaning on the tree like that. It was sunny. We stood in the shade. If it was reflecting from his watch would have had to been underneath, and he'd have had to be doing that with his arm. So there's no way it could have been him. And for it to be orange, as in the fruit orange, and roughly the size of a tennis ball, both of them, and that happened twice. So that's Rendlesham. But Cannock Chase there's so much stuff in history of, you've got the Pigman over near Pie Tower, which is right next to a German war cemetery. So the POWs, and the Germans that were killed in the UK were in that area, were buried there. So you can go in there, you can get in there at night. I've done a couple of investigations around there. You've got another area called Slitting Mill, where you've got the Slitting Mill. I think it's the 1920s of the Slitting Mill trail. You're lucky I can't put the picture up.
Well,
Nicole's laughing, but this photograph is it's something else, put it that way. So you've got the Slitting Mill trail from like the 1920s. Some guy wrote about it, and there's a lot of stuff going on there. There's a pub called the Horn Inn. Now, one of the lads that I know, he did some research on it, and there was a satanic group called the Horns or something like that, and they used to do rituals about 200 yards away from where this pub is now. So there's a lot of synchronicity with stuff going on. But
okay.
You've got UFO sightings, Bigfoot-type creatures, orbs, liquid orbs, ghosts, spirits, disembodied voices. We went the first time that we went there last year, Simon, we were setting up like a little camp at the back of this Horns pub, and we'd move because it was on a bit of a slope. So we'd gone down to get his equipment. As he's gone down to get him, walking up, he could feel something running at him. Couldn't see it. There's no vibration on the ground, but could hear it running at him. And he just stopped, stood his ground, and it just stopped straight in front of him. And he couldn't see anything, couldn't feel anything, but he'd heard this bluff charge. Now, I know someone else who had something similar to that, but was in a different area of Cannock Chase.
All right.
It's pine forest.
Mhm.
It's big pine forest with lakes and rivers, and yeah.
Well, pine forests are often creepy here in the States, especially, New Jersey's got a big pine forest.
Yeah.
Pine, yes. And I've got, I was looking through the chat here. There's a couple people that had a couple questions. I think a couple for you, Andy, and one for Nicole, I think, looks like.
Yeah.
OPR 357 asks, I watch a lot of the Urbex UK. Curious if you've ever been down in any of the tunnels or have had any encounters if you've been there.
No, we was planning on going down to some tunnels yesterday, And like I said, we was going to go to the golf course, and then the weather went from not bad, bit overcast, to absolutely throwing it down. And if we'd have gone there, we'd have just got drenched. The equipment would have got ruined. Even though it's in the tunnels, it's still out in the open, so obviously the water will come through into it. So we didn't get chance to go there. But there's so many tunnels in the UK. It's the difficult part is knowing how to access them.
Okay.
That's the bit that you need to find out. It's you know where they are, but it's finding how to get into
Finding
them
how to
is
get
the
into them
difficult
is-
bit. Yeah.
I bet that would be difficult. And I think this question is for both of you. However, this is from Outer Limits Magazine from the UK. First time in here. She wants to ask, this is probably for both of you. Her name, this is Chris. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on in, Chris. Subscribe if not already. In fact, if you haven't subscribed yet to Bigfoot Mr. Rob on YouTube, please do so. The Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube, Texas Front Porch, Paranormal Roundtable, and of course, Andy DeCodes show, which is Alien Bunk. Now, Nicole, do you have a YouTube channel?
We do. Full Moon Paranormal has a YouTube channel.
I think I probably have that posted. So give me your link as well. So
I'll look for it. Here,
thank you. So anyway, okay, they asked then for both of you guys. Let's go with Nicole first. What do you think spirits are, Nicole? You might have answered this earlier, but we'll do it again.
I am still trying to figure that out.
All right.
So I want to think, that we're communicating with the spirits of deceased people, with deceased loved ones. But all I really know for sure is that something is interacting with us. Something is answering our questions, responding to us, interacting with equipment.
Very
So
nice.
we can do a lot of theories.
And that's the thing about it, right? The more we do this, the more we learn, or the less we know, right? Andy, your thoughts on that briefly?
Yeah, I've been thinking this for quite a while now. See, every time you ask a question, Nicole starts laughing because she knows straight away what I'm going to say. So, first of all, I don't believe a spirit is a ghost. I believe they're two completely different things.
Me too.
So, for me personally, a ghost is a residual heart, something that's just like on a time loop, stone tape theory. Yeah, I just think that's what a ghost is. It's just reliving what it used to do. Whereas a spirit, that's an intelligent connection where you can communicate with it. Whether that is the spirit of someone that's passed, I don't know. It could be a trickster. It could be something from another realm, a different time. It could be a parallel dimension to what we're in now. We just can't see them because we haven't got that complete crossover between the two dimensions of the two realms. So it could be something that's existing the same time as us. We just don't get to see it in full structure.
Okay. And kind Andy, you and Nicole kind of both answered this. This is from Ron. Ron Forrest Jr. asks, are ghosts spirits of the dead or from another dimension? Of course, you just kind of said something on that, Andy. But here's the other question, because you kind of answered, you both did kind of the first part. And I always ask people this, by the way, not just with the paranormal, but with cryptids. Why is it that just a few people see any of these entities?
So I think that some people are just more open to it than other people, and that's why they experience the paranormal. Like, you could be in a busy room and you hear your name and you tune into it, but nobody else is going to. So I think some people are just more attuned to things, or it just resonates with them.
Yeah, Andy?
Yeah. Similar sort of thing. You do have to be open to it to see or encounter whatever's going on. But also, a lot of people say you're chosen to see it. The very select to who they will show themselves to. So I'm not 100% convinced by that. I understand what they're saying. I get that, but I think it's either being in the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time. I think it's more that than anything else. You just happen to be there as this is going on. Because just going back to Bench Guy, I've gone back to that cemetery 100 times since then, never seen him. So why have I not seen him again? If he had chosen me to see him, why is he not choosing for me to see him again?
Yeah.
Right.
Also, if you don't believe, you're going to discount everything paranormal that happens. You're going to explain it away.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
a lot of people do that. In fact, when I first started doing this, somebody told me personally that I was marked when I had my encounter. Plus, this person did not know that I had paranormal encounters 30 years prior throughout my life with paranormal UFOs, shadow people, ghosts,
Missing time.
Missing time. I've experienced everything under the umbrella, right? So he said, well, I'm marked. Well, and that was just for my Bigfoot encounter. I said, no, I don't think I'm marked. I mean, kind of freaked me out when he said that. And again, you guys, I didn't know anything about the field going into it. But I think what we've all talked about here, and what's really what Chris has taught me a lot, is I think it really goes back to your open-mindedness, number one, I think. And it goes back to what we just said earlier, frequency and vibration. Depends on what level you're interacting on to have these experiences. Because I think we've all had them, but some of us refuse to believe that we've had them.
Yeah. See, can I just say, I love it when you speak to someone and they'll go, I've never had a paranormal encounter. I'm like, really? Went, oh, but there was this time when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
And there it is.
Yeah.
But I love that too. We all catch that from many people. Well, we're coming up toward the end of the show here. This is a great show. I'm glad I had you on finally, Andy, talking about your UK and Nicole.
I have one last question.
Yeah, go ahead, Crystal. I don't have to end it. You can keep
No, just real quick. Andy, it's for you, just because I'm a history buff, and I know in the UK there's some really, really old buildings. You know, in the US, you know, our oldest buildings might be 1600s. You go way back, you know, with a lot of the buildings. What is the oldest building you have investigated?
Oh, it's probably the church ruins. Which it's not that old, really. I think it's like the 1700s.
Gotcha.
But there are a couple of Saxon churches not too far from me that are from like the 11th, 12th century.
Yeah. Wow.
So I do want to go to them. It's just, I know it's one of those where it's difficult to get in the grounds. You can get in, and you just make sure no one sees you before, during, and or once you've gone, it doesn't matter. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cool, you know, castles and stuff like that. I'd love to visit.
Oh yeah, you know,
yes,
we could do a show on castles.
Yeah, I was going to say about the castles. A lot of them they lock up and you can't get in unless it's a castle ruins. If it's not a working castle, but it's still got the walls and the floors and all that, there's no way you're getting in that. Not a chance.
I can only imagine. It doesn't matter what time period with the war, England, France, wherever, with the battles that were fought right outside the castles, outside the moats, when they broke inside the castle. There's got to be a lot of, you know, lingering spirits. You know, everybody talks about Gettysburg, the Civil War, all those ghosts. I've got to imagine that during that time era, or that time period, there's got to be a lot of, how should we say, spirits that haven't crossed over.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fascinating study.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Thank you, Amy.
Oh, thanks so much, Amy Creel. This has been a fantastic show. I really appreciate you guys both coming on today, taking time. Andy, yourself especially. For Nicole, which is the same time where I live, where Amy Nicole is. Amy Creel, thank you. And you, thanks, man. I appreciate this. Before you leave, I got to thank Gary Spike Sr., Ginger Paranormal, Ridge Runner, Paranormal Roundtable for donating, and Amy Creel for that's, boy, we got 5, 10, 15, 25 new BMR parts tonight. Wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
And of course,
I will tell you too, the Paranormal Roundtable, I actually seen him comment after it was actually Anthony.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
For
comment.
Paranormal Roundtable that donated the memberships. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate this so much. Josh Turner with your nice donation as well. Again, if it is your first time, subscribe to ALIEN8UK. And of course, Nicole, I forgot your YouTube channel. I'm going to have to post it in this.
Shared it.
I think Trista shared it.
I'll do it again right now.
I mean, when I talked to Andy about a month ago, he gave me your entire group's bios, which, by the way, I did put in the show notes.
I just shared it under your.
And so you guys are fabulous. I enjoy watching you guys because I do watch you mostly on replay when I have an opportunity. But I'm a fan. I'm a supporter, a subscriber. I appreciate what you guys do. I appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thank you.
You know, I want to wish.
I just want to say thank you, Rob, for when you do come in, you always donate. Really appreciate it.
Well, yeah, I throw out in the UK. My money goes further in the UK, probably. I had to throw that in there. I don't know.
No, do appreciate it.
I'm kidding, man. You have to bring that up, but thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate you and what you do, and your entire all your people you work with are great people. I'm really glad you guys came on. I appreciate everybody came into our show tonight. For all you people listening later and watching outside of the chat room, love you and thanks for all your support and love. Don't forget, today is Tuesday night, so Wednesday we've got the Blondes and Booze.
No, Thursday we have Blondes and Booze.
On Thursday at 9:00 East, the Blondes and the Booze.
And we have Greg Ogles on Thursday.
Greg Ogles from Alabama will be on.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks for everybody's time. We all love you around here. And with that being said, I've got to get back to where I was to find where I need to go. So once again, for Andy, for Krista and Nicole, I am Bigfoot Mission Rob, BMR. And until next time, have a great evening.
Cheers.
Are you ready?